Yeah.
I drive by this every day, and I've never been in here.
Time for the tour, or?
Perfect. Perfect. Yeah. All right. Are we good to go?
Order.
Right. In order. Yep. Good morning, everybody. So, I'm really happy to see you here. My name is Oliver Kester. I'm the director of the Accelerator Division here at Triumph. I'm delighted to be able to participate in this important and exciting announcement, stepping in for our director, executive director and CEO, Nigel Smith, who is on travel to be inducted as a fellow of the Royal Society of London. I think that's happening. Before we begin, I would like to note that our land acknowledgement will be provided by a very special guest and our next speaker, Member of Parliament, Wade Grant. Today we are welcoming our federal colleagues, many guests, for a major announcement about support for science in Canada. We are very grateful to host this announcement here at Triumph, Canada's Particle Accelerator Center. For over 50 years, Triumph has served as a premier major research facility for Canada. Today, our site here hosts over $1.5 billion of leading-edge research infrastructure and a community of some of the world's brightest minds. We use particle accelerators and detectors to explore the origin of stars, develop medical isotope to diagnose and treat disease like cancer, and advance next-generation materials like superconductors and materials for batteries. Our research programs are enabled by Triumph's core facilities, which you can see here, including the world's largest cyclotron behind me, which is a national asset, and these are critical infrastructures for Canada's science and innovation communities. These facilities serve as powerful engines for innovation that allow our country to remain resilient in the face of quite global uncertainty and to achieve national strategic goals. It's through facilities like Triumph that Canada can synchronize our powerful domestic, international and domestic networks, pursue world-leading science and research, and train next generation of STEM leaders. We are very grateful to the federal government for its continued support of Triumph, as well as the government's bold position in supporting science and innovation in Canada. That's not a given. In closing, I would like once again thank the federal government and reiterate that Triumph is proud to host this important announcement. It's a pleasure and a privilege to now invite to the podium our next speaker, Wade Grant, who is Member of the Parliament for Vancouver Quadra.
Thank you. Thank you. Awesome to see you up. Is that loud enough, Minister? As was stated, my name is Wade Grant. I am actually a member of the Musqueam First Nation, whose lands we are on today. I live about 2 minutes down the road, the highway, born and raised there, and I'm the first member of the Musqueam First Nation to be a member of Parliament in the federal government. So I want to welcome everybody to our territory and welcome to Triumph. I drive by here every day, but I've never been inside. I did not know how large this place was. It is one of Canada's crown jewels of scientific research and discovery, and it's an honor to be with you here today with the brilliant minds that are literally accelerating Canada's future. I'm proud to be a part of a government that believes deeply in the power of science and research. Since 2016, we've invested more than $22 billion in Canadian research, and that's not just numbers on a page. That's our commitment to the researchers, the students, and the innovators that will be changing our tomorrows. From coast to coast to coast, Canadian researchers are tackling the biggest challenges of our time: climate change, health crises, social inequality, and technological transformation. And that work doesn't just happen in laboratories and classrooms. It happens when we recognize that innovation comes from everywhere and from everyone. That's why the government is advancing equity, diversity, and inclusion across all research programs, and why we're working to embed Indigenous knowledge and traditional ways of understanding into Canada's science and research ecosystem. In fact, I'm happy to highlight that the latest budget dedicated $30 million specifically to Indigenous-led research. This is an investment in First Nations, Métis, and Inuit partners to help pursue solutions that reflect their community's needs, strengths, and priorities. Today, we have more good news for our world-class researchers and students here in British Columbia and across the country. So I'd like to introduce our guest, a leading advocate of Canadian innovation in the world today. She will give us more details in this great announcement. As Minister of Industry, she's working every day to position Canadians and Canada as the global destination for research, talent, and investment. So please help me in welcoming the Honourable Melanie Joly.
Thank you. Great work. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Thank you all. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Wade, for this very warm and loud welcome. It's very appreciated. It's a pleasure to be here in Vancouver Quadra. I'm happy to see our friend Zoe also with us, so thank you. Thank you for being with us. And thank you, Oliver, and the entire team at Triumph for the warm welcome. So, of course, when we think about Triumph, we know that this facility embodies what we celebrate today, which is world-class Canadian research that is driving innovation and bringing together brilliant minds to create solutions that will shape Canada's future and the world's future. It's a kind of place that makes Canadians very proud and remind us how much it is important for a country to invest in science and research. So folks, today is a great day. We're here to celebrate what makes our country unique. Trust. Trust in each other, trust in our institutions, trust in facts, and therefore trust in research and science. We wanted to clearly state, at a time where other countries in the world are taking their own decisions, that we believe in research and we believe in science. Because we know that the work of our scientists and researchers is for the betterment of our people in Canada and for the world. And because we trust them, and because we trust their work, because we know their work will lead us to better lives, we invest in them. Et ce qui nous différencie d'autres pays, c'est que nous avons en nous cette capacité de nous faire confiance aux faits, à la recherche et à la science qui nous a tant apporté au cours du dernier siècle, et bref, qui a fait en sorte de changer pour le mieux nos vies. We know the world is more complex. We also know it's a much more dangerous place. And that is why we need to work on solutions together to help to deal with the reality now and also the reality in the future. We also know we're competing with the world. And to that extent, we need to make sure that our own researchers in Canada are well equipped. So, we're rising up to the moment. We're empowering the next generation of Canadian researchers. And when I think about researchers, I think about visionaries. I think about scientists and innovators whose groundbreaking work will fuel breakthroughs for our country and, of course, make sure that our country can thrive. So, it's a great day, Canada. C'est une belle journée pour le pays. Today, I'm proud to announce $1.3 billion to more than 9,700 researchers and research projects across Canada in science. This money will empower Canada's brightest minds to tackle some of the most pressing challenges of our time in health, technology, and social innovation. Aujourd'hui, j'ai le plaisir d'annoncer un financement de plus de 1,3 milliard de dollars pour soutenir 9700 chercheurs et projets de recherche à travers le pays. We need to clap, that was in French. Ce financement permettra aux plus brillants esprits du Canada de relever des défis cruciaux de notre époque, que ce soit en santé, en technologie ou en innovation sociale. As challenges grow more complex and urgent, the world needs Canada's leadership now more than ever. And here, brilliant minds come together to push boundaries, develop breakthrough technologies, and create solutions that benefit us all. I will give you a couple of examples of researchers. Je vais vous donner quelques exemples. Olga Polachenko de l'Université du Nouveau-Brunswick perfectionne la sécurité et la fiabilité des technologies nucléaires avancées. Et ses travaux vont permettre au Canada de se positionner à l'avant-plan de l'industrie nucléaire de pointe. And let's think about also Huda Shafiq, who is at McGill right now, designing the world's first 3D printed, ready-to-use blood test for diagnosis tuberculosis infections. And her work has the potential to revolutionize the detection of infectious disease. Are you doing that, Zoe? Every day? So, you know, we're proud of Huda. So, and right here in BC, Ana Isabel Sarkis Fernandez is developing frameworks for energy dissipation technologies in buildings. Her work will make our structures more resilient and cost-effective. So great work, Ana Isabel. Yeah. So these projects go beyond research. They're building blocks for a stronger, better future. And our funding supports every discipline and every stage of the journey. And my final point to all of you is Canada is the place to do research in the world, because Canada holds the world, what the world needs. To all the researchers of the world watching us right now, I want you to think about Canada being the premier destination for your work. We want you to choose Canada because, you know what? We're a stable and trustworthy environment, a very democratic country. We have cutting-edge infrastructure, we have strong financial support, and we also invest in excellence. My message to you is Canada is not for sale, we're open for business, and we're open for science. So thank you all for today, and let's make sure that we make Canadians proud. Merci beaucoup. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you all.
Wow, thank you very much for this announcement, Mr. Joly. The research enabled by this announcement, what's coming, and the money to the researcher will greatly benefit and thrive science and research landscape here in Canada. So it's now my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, that's Ted Hewitt, President of the Social Science and Humanities Research Council. And thank you for coming.
Thank you, Dr. Kester, for your kind introduction, Madame la Ministre, Madame Royer, Monsieur Grant, pas Madame, aussi Madame Amy Parent, who is co-chair of our Indigenous Leadership Circle in Research and one of Canada's newest UNESCO chairs. So welcome. I also saw Duggan O'Neill from SFU. Thank you for coming. And Gail Murphy is hiding somewhere back there. Hi, Gail. Chers invités, chers collègues, c'est pour moi un immense plaisir d'être ici aujourd'hui en tant que représentant des 3 organismes fédéraux de financement de la recherche et de prendre part à cette annonce de grande importance, non seulement pour la communauté de recherche, mais aussi pour tout le Canada, comme le ministre a mentionné. Madame la ministre, je tiens d'abord à souligner le fait que votre gouvernement reconnaît depuis longtemps la valeur de la recherche lorsqu'il s'agit d'améliorer le sort de la population canadienne aujourd'hui et pour les générations à venir. Nous saluons votre leadership et votre volonté constante d'investir en recherche, qu'elle soit fondamentale ou appliquée disciplinaires ou interdisciplinaires dans tous les domaines des sciences humaines, des sciences naturelles et du génie et de la santé. Today, as the Minister emphasized, we are investing in new knowledge. Nearly $600 million is being awarded through NSERC's discovery grants, which give researchers the means to explore, experiment, and develop the next great idea. These are the same grants, I want to point out, that help lay the foundation for breakthroughs in Canada in areas such as artificial intelligence, quantum cryptography, and batteries for electric vehicles. Let's not forget that. If these are what have come before, just imagine what today's researchers will uncover next. Today, the government is investing in new talent. More than $365 million for scholarships and fellowships, supporting more than 4,700 students and emerging researchers. These are innovators and problem solvers whose ambitious ideas will generate the next era of research breakthroughs right here in Canada. Folks, this is a matter of national sovereignty. This investment is also in a better society and a greater understanding about people. More than $240 million is going to social sciences and humanities research through Shirk Insight grants, Insight Development grants, partnership grants, and partnership development grants. These grants, as many of you know, play a crucial role in advancing knowledge, driving social change, and promoting a deeper understanding of the world around us. Today's investment is also in high-risk, high-reward research, more than $25 million going to innovative, interdisciplinary research through the New Frontiers in Research Fund's exploration stream, which supports research that brings various disciplines together in new ways from bold, innovative perspectives. The government is further investing in communities with nearly $30 million to support colleges and polytechnics working hand in hand with local businesses to bring ideas to life in small towns and big cities from coast to coast to coast. And in addition, the government is investing in a highly skilled workforce. Over $25 million is going to support unique, in-depth training experiences that place students alongside academic and industry experts to work on cutting-edge research projects across sectors. Ces investissements, qui au total surpassent le milliard de dollars, viennent marquer une journée pleine de promesses pour la communauté de recherche et pour l'avenir du Canada. Au nom des organismes fédéraux de financement de la recherche, je veux exprimer mes plus sincères félicitations aux bénéficiaires, collègues. Nous sommes fiers d'appuyer ces esprits curieux, innovants, inspirants sur la voie de la réussite. Now, to the best part of the announcement. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to turn the podium over to Madame Royer.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
The crack.
Thank you. It's all good, sir.
I'll get out of the way.
Yeah.
Wait,
Okay.
did I take your notes?
No, afterwards we'll take care of
Very
that.
good.
Okay.
All right. I'll take mine.
Okay, Bella, you're in charge.
We'll proceed to questions. Format is one question, one follow-up. First question to Google.
Hi, Minister Joly. This is Neetu Garcha with Global National News. We heard that this announcement made today is a matter of national sovereignty. You also said Canada is not for sale. Comments perhaps that may not take on such meaning or maybe not even have been mentioned had it not been for threats from the U.S. president. So that's what I want to ask you about. Donald Trump says he wants to put new 50% tariffs on copper. Does your government still believe that Canada can get a deal without tariffs on Canadian industries by July 21st? And will you agree to a deal with the U.S. that maintains any tariffs on Canada?
Okay, so first and foremost, when it comes to the latest declaration from the president in the United States, we have not yet seen an executive order. Of course, our embassy in Washington is following very closely, as well as the entire team back in Ottawa. That being said, every single journalist in the country wants to have more information about the negotiations, and my answer is always the same. We will let the Prime Minister do the negotiation, supported of course by our negotiator-in-chief back in Washington, Kirsten Hullman, and we will not negotiate in public. That being said, being the Minister of Industry, my job right now is to make sure that in the context of this trade war, I'm supporting the front lines of this trade war, which are the workers and the companies affected by the unjustifiable and unjustified tariffs against aluminum workers, against also steel workers, and of course against the auto workers. And that's what I'm working every single day.
I maintain my job is to still ask the question, so I want to zero in on one specific industry. Will your government agree to any level of tariffs on Canada's auto industry to make a deal with the U.S.?
Our goal has always been to make sure that we protect the jobs. And right now, my job is to support the industry. So we are working on an auto $2 billion fund to support the workers and the industries. Again, this morning I was in contact with auto CEOs back in Ontario, and I've been in contact also with the Minister of Industry, Vic Fedeli, last night again on this issue. Thank you.
Next question.
Hi, Minister. Thomas Seal from Bloomberg. Sorry to also ask about automakers and tariffs. They have cut production in Ontario in response to tariffs already. Toyota yesterday was saying they may have to adjust production in response to that if they don't change. So Canada's penalising companies for such moves. When do those penalties kick in, and do they retroactively apply to companies who have already adjusted their production down?
So first and foremost, we're always open for discussion with the auto sector, maybe with the D3, the Detroit 3, so basically Ford, Stellantis, and GM, but also with the Japanese automakers, Honda and Toyota. We're having a broad range of conversations with them, maybe on ZEV mandates, maybe also on the remission system. Our goal is to make sure that ultimately we can protect jobs because we know the auto sector is fundamental to Canada's manufacturing sector and to our national sovereignty. What I'm having conversations with them about is how also they can use more of our steel and aluminum. Because I want to make sure as we look at the trade war going on, that we're supporting all three industries affected, steel, aluminum, and auto, and that we can work together to help each other.
Just to follow up, and are those two things linked? Could they sort of get relief in return for using more Canadian steel and aluminum?
So I won't answer directly your question because of course I don't negotiate in public, like I said, but of course we're in solution mode and we're in contacts with all the different CEOs and union leaders in the sector. These are difficult times. When we talk about a trade war, it's a term that we don't take lightly. We know that a lot of people are anxious in these sectors. We know that livelihoods are at stake. And so that's why we're really, really looking at the core of the issue while at the same time negotiating. So we can do both, reinforce the sector, make sure that there's still investments in these three sectors, and meanwhile negotiate. And that's what we'll do.
Last question.
Good morning. Bonjour. Ma question sera en français. Alors, est-ce que vous avez évalué l'impact que des tarifs de 50% sur le cuivre pourraient représenter pour l'industrie canadienne?
Différentes choses. Premièrement, il va de soi qu'à chaque fois que des tarifs sont menacés, le Canada va toujours réagir de la même façon, c'est-à-dire que nous allons toujours dénoncer ces tarifs et nous allons réagir et nous protéger et bien entendu les contrecarrer. Présentement, il n'y a toujours pas eu de décret présidentiel lié à la question du cuivre. On va voir qu'est-ce qui se passe et si, en effet, la Maison-Blanche va de l'avant. Mais une chose est claire, nous allons faire en sorte d'être en contact avec les gens de l'industrie. Je suis déjà en contact avec Glencore. Plus tard, je m'en vais chez Tech Resources. Et mon objectif est de faire en sorte qu'on soit en mode solution.
Merci. Suivi, est-ce que l'imposition de nouveaux tarifs américains vous paraît de mauvais augure pour en arriver à un accord commercial et sécuritaire avec les États-Unis d'ici le 21 juillet?
Vous savez, il y a toujours beaucoup d'imprévisibilité qui provient de la Maison-Blanche. On n'en est pas surpris. C'est le cas depuis les derniers mois. Donc, n'importe quel gouvernement à travers le monde doit être capable de prévoir, malgré toute cette incertitude. Donc, on doit être capable de faire les deux. Nous défendre, faire en sorte que nos emplois soient protégés, s'engager dans des conversations constructives avec l'industrie et en même temps négocier. Et c'est ce qu'on fait.
All right, this concludes today's press conference.